Hello there ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to today's video. And today we're going to crack on with the PSX. So if you've seen the introduction, then you'll know that this machine has a bit of a problem. We can't get it to power up. If you've not seen the introduction, then I do sort of encourage you to go back and watch it, and then you'll get a bit more of an idea as to what this machine is, where it came from, ultimately the backstory behind it. And then from there you'll be able to pick this up and you'll understand a bit more about what we're doing and why. So the first thing we've got to do is actually get this thing to power back up. Now, a really quick recap, if you remember from that first part, this thing came from Japan and it came as a no disk read issue. The hard drive and everything is working fine. I got it, I fired it up and confirmed it was working as far as much as what the seller said. I had been inside this machine really quickly, just to take a quick look, just to make sure everything component-wise was present and correct and we weren't missing any major parts, because obviously some of these things, these machines are quite rare, quite hard to find, especially in working order. They're like unicorns, so getting some of the bits might have been difficult. So I just wanted to make sure that everything was there and present. Whether it was working or not, I don't know, but whether it, it was actually physically there. For a start. So I did that, and I also cleaned the lasers off, because obviously this thing is a disk read issue, and just to make sure it's nothing silly, like a dirty laser or whatever. Now, somebody had already been in this machine before. It's already been opened, the warranty seals and everything were already taken off, but as I say, it was working as much as the seller said, so somebody's obviously been in there and tried to fix the disk read issue. But as I say, the no power issue has happened during my ownership of it. So this is whatever has happened to this machine is my fault. So I don't know what's happened. I haven't been back in there since. So basically, what happened is on the day that I was moving out of my old house into this one, this thing was in a pile of bits in my spare room. I really quickly, 20 minutes before I was due to move out and shut the door behind me, threw this thing back together. With a spare screwdriver, literally just tossed it back together, threw the screws in just to make sure I didn't lose anything. I still did lose a couple of bits, which I'm really annoyed about, which you'll see shortly anyway. But regardless as to that, as soon as I did that and I put it back together and brought it over here, it hasn't powered up since, and I'm not sure why. So I haven't been in it since. It's literally just sat in a box, and I thought I'll get around to that at some point when I actually come to look at the machine. It'd be interesting to see a bit more content, and we'll see where I've probably cocked up. So I'm hoping it's nothing too stupid. I'm hoping it's not, because as I say, it wasn't just thrown in a pile. It was kept in some sort of order. But it's like anything else, isn't it? When stuff's out, it can get knocked, it can get broken. Something might have come off it. I'm really hoping not, because that could be a real issue. But, you never know, do you? So, anyway, so we're going to tear this thing down today, and we're going to take a look inside and see if we can see what happens. Now, for those of you who remember, on the first part of this video, I said that there is a light bar across the back. And this is what I'm hoping might be the issue. So, this light bar back here. So, it's basically so you can have it like upside, or you can lay it flat. So it has a hard disk drive access light, a hard disk record light, a disk record light, and an infrared sensor. Oh, and a disk in strip at the back. Now, what can happen, and a particular quirk of these machines, especially if you get one, is that without that rear light bar being plugged in, if your machine has it, I think the later ones actually did away with it. But if you've got one of these earlier machines and it won't power up, make sure the cable is in and that it's not damaged. Because if that light bar isn't detected by the machine, it will be dead as a door. It literally won't show anything. There'll be no lights, no nothing. It will literally be like it's dead. So that is a really quick one to be aware of, and that's what I'm hoping I've done. I'm hoping, because that ribbon cable is a bit knackered, so I'm kind of hoping, like I've said, that ribbon cable is damaged. Well, it is damaged. I know it's damaged. What I mean is I hope I haven't plugged it in, or as it's plugged in, it's, the end of it's furled up, or one of the contacts has come off, or I'm hoping it's something really stupid like that. Because if I have to go digging into this, it could be a while, so we'll see. So anyway, so I have it hooked up to my AC-DC converter now. Unfortunately, or my AC-AC converter even. Unfortunately, this one is an American unit, so it's 110 volts. These are Japanese spec 100 volts. So it shouldn't make that much difference for testing. We should be alright. We should get away with it. Ooh, I don't know if you can hear that. Hopefully you can hear that, because that's the hard drive. But as you can see on the front, so the hard disk is actually spinning, but here, where that little black thing is there, just by my fingernail, these are LEDs. So this is the power one, so this should be lit up red right about now. And it's not. Now the hard disk has finished spinning down. The good news is the hard disk seems, it certainly sounds happy, you know. It's not clicking and thumping away, so it's not, at least the hard drive hopefully has survived the move, if the machine hasn't. But there should be a light on here, there should be an indicator up here in red, and there isn't. If we press it, it doesn't do anything, see? All completely dead. So that is the issue we've got, ladies and gentlemen. So today we're going to crack this apart and see if we can get some power back to it, and hopefully, if we can get power back to it, we can get it to boot and hopefully it'll work. So let's strip this down, let's take a look, and see if we can find anything. Hopefully it's something stupid. Right, okay then, ladies and gentlemen, so I've just unhooked the power. Now, this is going to be a bit of a pain, I'm not going to lie. This is going to be a bit of a nightmare. So if I scratch this table, the missus will go mad. So I am going to have to put something down on it. And it's not the easiest thing in the world to open. It can be a bit fiddly. And of course, these things now are getting on a bit. So the plastics are a little bit more brittle than they used to be. So, you know, I'm going to try and avoid doing any sort of serious damage to this thing. So, it's been apart a few times already. So I really don't want to be pushing this, you know, pushing my luck. So we're going to try and be careful. So the first thing I'm going to do is just flip this over. Oh. I'll move you back in view in a sec. Okay, so here's a little bit of a quirk for you. So all the cables and everything else sit in the bottom of that there. Now I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to be able to get you a good view of this, but we'll have a go. You can see all the connections and everything are right hidden in the back there, which might seem a bit daft. And if I'm honest, it probably is. So we're going to have to remove that power cable first before we do anything. So on here, look, you'll see this little eject symbol. So this is on the bottom of the machine, obviously. So we just push down slightly here and then slide it back this way. And away it comes. Now if you just tug it, the thing like locks up. So if you just try to pull it, it actually won't come free. And you risk breaking the tabs. Now, on this one's fairly good. This one's in fairly good order. One of the tabs, though, I think is broken. So, oh, yes, it is. This back tab there is present on this side, but it's not on this. It is in the bottom of the box. So, the bits of plastic that have fallen off it, I have kept to one side. So, one day I might be able to fix them back together. So, we're going to remove the power cable. That's that done. Okay, now then, screws for the base. So there's a few screws. I'm going to just lift you up here. So screws for the base. There's a few different ones, but luckily it's not that complicated. So remember when I said that I'd lost in the introduction a couple of screws and a foot? Well, it turns out I found one of the screws. Hey! So that's one of the screws I thought I'd lost. This is the other one that I have lost, and this is the rubber foot that I've lost. So you can see I've got 3 rubber feet, but there should be a 4th one here, and that's the one I'm missing. So if anybody has got one of these machines, I know it's a long shot because there aren't many of them about, but if somebody has got a PSX that they're parting out and they've got the rubber feet, if you're selling them as a set, I don't mind, but if you can sell me one of them, and this screw here from the rear, I will be forever indebted to you, because otherwise I'm just going to have to try and find something that'll do. So I'm going to take the rubber feet out. The warranty seal would normally be across here, but you can just about see the sticker residue there. So I'm just going to try and pop these little plastic covers out. So if anybody's taken a PS2 apart, you'll know very well what these are like, because they're, in fact, I would say they're the same. They're just a different colour. But they're the same carry on. I'm trying to get it with my nails here. Okay. So the screws now should be exposed. So we've got one here, or you would have, I haven't. One there. There's nothing underneath this foot at all, it's blank. You've got a screw under this foot, you've got a screw here, a screw here, a screw here, and a screw under each of these feet. So we've just got a posi screwdriver here. So we'll just crack on and remove them. Now these can be a bit tricky to get in and out, especially after they've been in there for so long. They might be a bit stubborn. I'll try and come around the other side so as not to block too much of the camera for you, but I apologise if I do get in the way here. So these rear screws here are slightly different. If you'll notice, there's like a little collar on them, so make sure you don't get those mixed up. The shorter ones here at the back, so this one here and this one here are slightly smaller. Okay, so we'll get those out in a sec, and then you've got the four longer ones, are the four holes up the front. And these are like threaded halfway up, you'll see. But they're all posi, they're all the same sort of size screw head, which is good. Means you're not messing about too much. So this might be a bit tricky. As I say, I apologise if I am blocking the view slightly, but I do obviously need to get in there. So I'm just going to remove these screws out of the screw posts. Right, okay, so that's all the screws retrieved from the bottom. So what we'll do now is we'll take these side pods off. Now again, remember what I said in the last video on the introduction was that this one has a little bit of damage here on the side. So that's just about where the locking tab is. Now if you just try to pull this out, I would imagine that's probably going to be the kind of damage you'll get, because it'll rip it against the locking tab and then it's going to break the plastic, especially as these things are getting a little bit more brittle. So the correct way to take these out, if you look underneath, so this is the top side, this is the bottom, as you can see here, this is where we just removed the screws from. I'll just lower you down a bit and see if we can't get you a shot of this, because this could be a bit of a tricky one to get a shot of. I think you can just about see it. So in here, you see this little tab there, just where my screwdriver's pointing. So you can just about see it. If you look directly below there, you can see the little tab sticking down. So what you need to do is, you need to get a screwdriver just in there, put it on the top side of that tab, and just pull it down ever so slightly, and then the whole plastic piece should slide back. Now that's unlocked it, so if I bring you up here, hopefully you can see that this has now moved back from the front. You can see it's loose. It does get hung up on this little metal inner part here, so don't rag it straight up, because if you do, you're likely to break it. As you can hopefully see there now, it's come off. So you can see better here, look, this is where the locking tab is. So you're literally just moving that down ever so slightly. So don't pry it, because if you pry down too hard, you'll end up marking this surface here, as somebody's done on the other side of this machine, which is a little bit annoying. But it's nothing too mega, and you certainly don't see it unless you're eyeballing the bottom, so I'm not too bothered, but it is a little bit annoying. Because it's just a little bit of care, you know? It's just about somebody just exercising a little bit of caution. And then you have these two little black the posies here as well. Okay, so those are out. So these are only little things, so make sure you don't lose them. But that whole part will then come off. So here you've got those two little polys, little posies there. So we'll put them to one side because obviously we don't want to lose them. Okay, and you'll see this is already wanting to come apart. And we'll rinse and repeat on the other side. Okay. Like I say, it can get hung up, which is a bit annoying. There you go. So don't be too gung-ho with it, because there are these little locking tabs on the bottom, which hook into these. So it can just get caught up. So don't, as I say, be tempted to pull them. Because if you do, then you can pull them a bit hard. And as you can see here, somebody, I don't know why they would, well, perhaps they weren't prying actually, but you can see there's a little bit of damage on the edge there. Maybe somebody didn't know exactly how it came apart and just tried to have a go. Not entirely sure. But it doesn't look too great, does it? So we'll remove those two posies again. And that whole metal shield will then lift off. And then what we're going to do, we'll lay this whole thing flat. Alright, so these really aren't that tricky to take apart. I mean, I've only had this apart a couple of times. The last of which was 18 months ago, and I can still remember roughly how it comes apart. So next we're going to take off this bottom panel. So it's just a case of lifting up at the corners, I think, if I remember right. I'll tell you what, no, we'll take this bottom part off. So literally get it at the corner here, and then it should just pop. There you go. That'll come free. Now then, if you have got one of these slightly older machines, the ribbon that sometimes gets damaged or is unplugged is here. Okay, so this goes into the light bar at the rear. This one is plugged in. Like I said, the ribbon isn't brilliant, and you'll see what I mean shortly with that. But the rest of this, from what I remember, just lifts up. Now it can be a little bit stubborn, and again, okay, so you see this here, this little tab here hooks into there, so just flick that and then the whole thing just lifts up and off. Oh, hey, oh, beautiful, lovely, yes, got you. So I'm just having a quick look in the top just to see if indeed there are any screws or rubber feet laying around in here, but unfortunately there aren't. Just yet anyway. So that's that. But as you can see there, ladies and gentlemen, we are into the motherboard area. So, you know, so this is the light bar here down the back. So this is the cable that I say sometimes gets a bit odd. Now the end has come off this one, so the blue bit's just wedged in. It's not brilliant. I mean, it is in. It's in enough to make contact, which is annoying because that means my problem is elsewhere. Oh, don't you just love it? So that ribbon cable is in place. I was hoping that it was just going to be a case of just popping that back in. And as I say, the end of it is missing. And I do have a spare, just in case, because I knew it was a little bit flaky to begin with. I was hoping, though, like I say, that it was just a case of me not plugging that back in right, but it looks alright to me. Bugger. Okay. So, anyway, we'll have a closer look at the motherboard another time, because we have to have this motherboard out. If you remember the introduction, I don't own any NTSC titles or anything like that. So I'm going to need this to play my PAL content, so we're probably going to have to look at some sort of internal modification. So anyway, we'll see about that. So we'll have another look at exactly what's on here another time. But suffices it to say, it looks alright. Now, I'm trying to think now what else it could be. I mean, it does have power, actually, doesn't it? Because the hard disk spins up, but we've got no front light. And I did, the last time I was messing around with this, I was in the disk drive. Because, as I say, I was cleaning the laser heads. So I'm wondering if we haven't done something daft here. Like not plug the front panel in. It could happen. It could happen. I am that silly. It's possible. So, yes, so let's have a look then. Let's have a bit of a deeper dive. So what I'm going to do, just while I'm here, because as I say, I do have a new cable for this back end. Now, if I remember rightly, I got the longest ones I could, but this is quite a long cable. I'm not entirely sure if the one I've got will be long enough. It'll certainly be a bit of a stretch. But as you can see there, the blue bit just hangs off. It's not the greatest in the world. It's not brilliant. Yeah, it's not great. I don't know if you'll see it there. It could be better. It's seen better days. The end of it, as I say, has come off. So let's just let's see what we can do then. Let's see what else we can find. As I say, it does have power. I thought it was completely dead. Which again kind of makes sense now because that cable was plugged in. So, as I say, the last time I was in here, I was messing around with the disk drive. So maybe when I've thrown it back together, I've not plugged everything back in up there. So anyway, so this is off. This rear ribbon that you can't see at the minute is off because we're going to have a fiddle with that. So we'll just flip this back up the right way. Oh, bloody hell. Paranoid about dropping it. Absolutely terrified of dropping it. So what we're going to do now is, I think you lift it up from the back, if I remember rightly, and then walk it forwards and up. Yes, yes you do. Okay, right, lovely. So that's that. And that is the top of the machine, ladies and gentlemen. So, not sure how much you can see here, but that there is the rear ribbon for the light bar. So that's the one we're going to be replacing. This is the hard drive, power supply, disk drive. As you can see, it's a big old beast because it's got a DVD burner laser on one side and a KMS PlayStation laser this side, KMS 400C I think it is. KHS 400C. I forget. It's been a while since I've been inside PS2s. But yeah, so this is... yeah, no, again, this one's just about hanging in too. That weren't great. And the ends come off that one as well. So, yeah. In fact, the blue end is still in there, which is great. So, as I say, I do have some replacements for that, so I'm not too bothered about that. So, the next thing is... Oh, hang on a minute. Right, so... I have just spotted something here, ladies and gentlemen, and I don't know if it's going to come across on the video and if you won't have seen this, but I was just looking across the top of here, and I've noticed this ribbon cable here is hanging in the breeze. Which, like I said, bearing in mind how quickly I threw this thing together, and it was in complete bits, I'm not surprised I've forgotten it. So, let's just take a look here. I'll see if I can get you a better view of it before I do anything too drastic. I'll see if I can't get you a bit lower down. Okay, so this is the front corner, alright, so this works in a bit of a weird way. So this side here is your power and eject, this here is your quick game, and then you've got some LEDs up here, and the infrared sensor just there. Now there's a screw on the front here, but how this works is this board and this board are separate, but they're linked by this ribbon cable across the top, and then there's a connector on the back here which goes down to the main board. So all the communication for both these front panel sets here goes through this one ribbon. It's unplugged, so so that might explain it. And basically, from what it looks like, it goes down through the chassis and then out through here, so onto this connector. So let's just lift this up. All right. So yeah, so it comes out of there, look, and then it comes into this connector. So let's just see if we can get you level with this connector. So it's just a little clamp connector, really. Little zip socket. There you go. Pull it out, and then feed it up. So that's it. So I'll just show you the ribbon. And hopefully we should just be able to plug this back in, but it's a bit chewed up. It's a bit chewed up, so. But I don't. It looks alright there. There's a bit of a depression in it. It's been sat against something there, isn't it? Like a screw. Well, well, there you are. That might explain it. There's a bloody hole in it. Right, so you can see there, look. That's obviously not going to be doing it any favours. There's a few depressions. Look, there's one there as well. Like it's been sat against a nub or a screw, or something's definitely landed on it, hasn't it? Oh, Andrew. Bit silly of me, that, really. Anyway, if you look at the end of it, I've got a tab there that's coming off it anyway. So this ribbon is knackered. The other side looks alright. The other side's in one piece, but this side, well, it's peeling anyway. As you can see, that left tab is knackered. So this cable won't be replacing anyway. Oh, lovely. So that's two. That's two cables we're going to have to replace. Right, well that isn't the worst news in the world. So I do have some flat panel ribbon connectors. I'm going to have to order up some of the others to replace that power ribbon. But yeah, I mean, it could be worse, couldn't it? Hopefully that's all it is. I just hope that it hasn't shorted anything out when obviously whatever's been through that, I don't even know what the hell there is to trap it. The only thing I can think of is there's something to do with the case, maybe like a post or something's come down and gone through it, or well, there is a screw there, but it weren't screw. You know, I could have had it out, but then again, you would have ripped it through, wouldn't it? I don't understand how that hole's there. But it's definitely not supposed to be there. So right. So what I'll do is I'll go and get the rear panel ribbon replacements I've got. Like I said, I don't think they're as long as this one, which may pose a problem. And then we'll see if I can order up some of these flexes, unless I have some. I might have some. I mean, weirdly enough, I might have some, you know. And the reason I say I might have some is because I seem to remember when I looked in here before that a lot of these ribbon cables are not in the greatest shape. So I think I may have ordered some spares. I think I might have just... I seem to remember doing it. I don't know where they are. They'll be my component box if I have. But essentially I seem to remember thinking that what I did was, as I say, a lot of these ribbon kits, like you see, like a lot of them are dog-eared, like the ends have fallen off them and things. So I think I might have just gone, right, I'm just going to replace them all. I might have ordered some. I'll go and have a look in my box, and I'll go and see if I have, because there's a chance I did order some replacements. I would be so pleased with myself if I did, because it's just as well. But if not, I'm just going to have to jump on eBay or Amazon or AliExpress, and it might take a couple of weeks. I might have to pick this back up. But hopefully, if I have got some, we'll see. So bear with me for a sec, ladies and gents, and we'll see what we can get. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so I went and had a look through my parts stash, and basically I've just got a box where, like, anything I've got incoming, then I basically just keep it all in the same box. So, obviously then I know what I've got, you know, if I'm missing any components for any particular repairs I've got coming up, I know of. They go in the box and I can just dig them out as and when I need them. And sure enough, we have 1 and 2 packets. And in these packets, we have 1 bag of ribbon cables. And we have a second bundle of ribbon cables. Oh yes, ladies and gentlemen, I actually did something well for once. I planned ahead. I did. Unbelievable, because it doesn't happen very often, trust me. So yes, it looks like I have cables for the front panel. So that's brilliant. So we have I do have a spare cable for that front ribbon, and obviously I have this one here. So let's go and see. I would still love to know how the hell I've nicked that cable. Unless when I've taken it apart doing the disk drive, I've folded it under something, or I've put a screwdriver through it. I don't know. I don't know. All I am glad about, ladies and gentlemen, is that it doesn't matter. Right, so let's get this repaired, and let's get this ribbon cable replaced, and then let's see if we get any more joy out of the PSX. So let's have a look. I'll try and lower you down. Right, so what I'm going to do is just going to undo this really small screw here at the front. It's loose anyway. And then, but I'll be really careful with that because it is really small. Now remember that that power eject board at the other side over there is connected via this top ribbon to here. So be careful with this, because obviously we don't want to damage that ribbon as well while we're at it. So I'm just going to get a spare cable out of my bag. Alright. And hopefully it's going to make sense. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look at this ribbon here so you can see where it's folded. And essentially what I'm going to do is I'm just going to offer this cable up. So you can see there that the pinouts are the same. Luckily this cable is in a lot better shape than what that one was. So the contact sides, if I overlay them there, I'm not going to go too far wrong, am I? So we've got that there. It folds over roughly there. Yeah, roughly somewhere around there. So I'm not going to crease it down too hard, but I'm just going to put a bit of a fold in it. Lovely stuff. That one now goes in the bin. And this one goes in the PSX. So I've undone the screw. Where have I put the screw? I said it was small and make sure you don't lose it. Oh yeah, so I found it. I'm just going to pop it somewhere where I'm not going to lose it. Right, okay, so I'm just going to lift this off. So like I say, it is stuck up underneath this foam here. I don't really want to pull it too much because I don't want to damage it. Sticky pad there. So I'm just going to lift it. Okay, so you can see the connector there. So essentially it's another one of these zero insertion force connectors, ZIF connector. Pull it out, so it just pulls down, and then it goes in that way. So the contacts are facing. So the contacts are facing you if you're looking at the side of the machine, if I remember rightly. Okay, so that's in there. So I'm just going to push this shut. Alright, there we go. So I'm just going to feed this ribbon cable back down there. Okay, that'll do. That'll do for now. And then, so I've got this end here, and I'm just going to post that back through the hole in the bottom of the chassis, so you hopefully see it just about coming out there. Alright, there we go. And then that just sits back in place. It all just sits quite nicely, so, you know, you can't go too far wrong. and then we'll just tighten this back up. Make sure it is tight. It's only a little screw though, don't want to use too much force. Don't want to strip it. So as you can see there, our cable is now pointing out the hole. So let's just flip this back on its side and plug it in. Alright, so we have our cable there. Left that open. A bit silly, wasn't it? It's just asking to walk around and smack it off in there. But no, luckily enough we avoided that one. And there we go. So I'm just trying to be really careful with stuff like that, because stuff like that breaks at the best of times. Never mind when it's nearly 20-year-old and it's been inside here with loads of heat and it's brittle as old hell. Yes, so that's that ribbon replaced then. So that's good. Hopefully then that's the cause of our issue with any luck. So it looks like it was getting power, wasn't it? My memory fails me. So it looks like it was getting power, but obviously that ribbon cable being damaged wasn't going to help anything. And then we've got these here to replace that rear panel ribbon connector. So yeah, right, okay. So do we need the bottom off that still? I don't think we do we? We can get to the rest of it from the top. Alright, okay. Now I'm just thinking out loud, sorry. I'm just thinking out loud here. Can we put the base back on it? I think we probably can, can't we? I don't think we need access for now underneath here. I'm just wary of leaving that motherboard exposed because I don't want to knock it or lose anything off it. That makes sense. So, I mean, I may have to take this back off because I can't remember how we assemble it. Can't remember what order it's all got to go back in, but something like that. It's sitting back on there anyway. I don't think for now we need access to the bottom side. Okay, there we are. So let's have a look at the back. So this is the back, and of course we have to replace that ribbon cable over there. Now, as I say, this was quite a long ribbon cable. Now, this isn't the best because, as I say, this is a phone camera, so my apologies. But the ribbon cable for that rear light bar is back here. So let's take a look at this cable. So this is the cable. Alright. So it went blue tab to the outside edge. So this is the hard drive. So this is the right hand side as we're looking at the rear of the machine. So it went in there like that. Now, as I say, this is, well, I don't think it's that long actually, but I think it's longer than my cables are. So this could be this could be a bit of a pain, this, but we'll see. We'll see. I might have to route this ever so slightly differently. Can't be sure. Right, this may, like I said, this may not be a straight swap. I may have to find some slightly longer cables at some point. I think these were the longest I could find at the time. Right, so there's not that much different in them, I don't think. Yeah, they are slightly shorter, but there's not that much in it. So if we go probably about an inch, will it fit? Will it fit? I don't know. I hope it will. I really hope it will. Right, so I'm going to plug this end in. I'll put the details for the specifications and things of these cables. I'll put the details and the specifications for them in the description of the video if you've got one of these or you end up getting one of these. And you need to replace the same ribbons, because I dare say by this point you probably will. So this one was folded over at a 90-degree angle like that. Okay, so I probably should have done this before. But you can see the sticker there, this is where it was. So it kind of needs to come down there. I'm trying to think yet. I don't know if I'm going to have enough room to do this with these. So the contacts are facing up on this rear end, like that. Luckily, like I said, there is a mark in the chassis as to where it needs to go. I'll fold it. I think I may have to get some longer cables, but we'll see. Okay, so this paper sticker is long gone. I can try and use some electrical tape or something on that, maybe. Just try and keep it in place a little bit better than it is, but I may need the length. I may be better off not sticking it down for now. I mean, it's not as if I don't have to come back in here again at some point in the future anyway. So I'm not too fussed about just leaving it wafting for now, as long as it works. To be honest, that's all I care about. So yeah, right, okay. So that one is replaced. Let's see if I can't put the top back on. So as you can see here, the edge of the case is there. It just comes out through the back edge, so be mindful of that. Oh, I think I can see how I caught this. I think I can see how I caught it, because I think I can see how I ended up catching this. So you can see the ribbon there. See where it just about waves out? Well, that is right where these screw posts go through. So I think I probably have sort of trapped the ribbon beneath it, and then I've put the screw through. Which is probably how I've broken it in the first place. Ah. Bit of a problem then. Alright, so just be mindful of that ribbon cable then when it goes back on, to make sure I don't trap it. Right, so this is going to be a little bit tricky then. Just try and make sure I don't trap. I'm going to have to try and stick that back, I think, with something long term. But again, it's not as if I don't have to come back in here at some stage, because I do. Alright, we're in. We're down, I think. Lovely stuff. So it just sits over the top. Alright, so we're back on. So let's flip this back upside down then and see if we can't plug that ribbon cable back in. I hope it's long enough now, because if not, we are in a mess. Alright, so try and get you close enough so you can see what I'm doing without it being a bit of a pain. It's not very long. Oh, there's a bit of slack on it. Right, I think... Oh, God. My apologies if I get in the way again, ladies and gentlemen, but it's hard to not get in the way. Bloody hell, there's not a lot of... Tell you what, I might get away with it, but you really could do with something slightly longer. Long term, I think I'm going to have to get some longer cables. If it'll go in. I don't know if it'll go in. If I fold it slightly on the end, it might. Could do with a pair of tweezers. But I ain't got any. Whee! We're in. Wow, that were a bit of a faff. That were a bit of a fiddle. It is just about long enough. Just about long enough. As you can see. So it's not curled right over on itself. Yeah, that is probably about, that literally is as short as you can get away with. So all I had to do was just sort of like fold it across the edge, across this back edge here. Don't put a hard fold in it, because obviously then you run the risk of breaking the traces in the cable, but just sort of like gently fold it over, and then it goes in. So yeah, you wouldn't want any shorter than that, really. So what we'll do is we'll pop some screws back in. So this base is on, so essentially it should be a case of pop that in there. So that's all seated. Alright, yeah, lovely. So we'll put some screws back in the base. We'll leave the sides off for now, just in case we have to get back in, but it should be enough just to test it. And so I'll put some screws back in, plug the power in, see if we get any lights. Right, okay then, ladies and gentlemen, so as you can see, we've got it the right side up. Power cable's plugged in the back. So these are the ribbons we removed. That's the one for the front panel switches with a hole in it. That's my fault. And this is the rear one for the dodgy light bar. And we shall see. So I'm going to flick the switch now on the transformer. Fingers crossed, if this is good, we should hear the hard drive and this light should come up red. If we get a red light here, we're good. Alright? Well, hopefully we are. Hopefully we are. Hopefully we're good. I'm going to cry if not. I'm going to cry if not. Right, okay, so switch is at the back. Here we go. Oh, yes! A red light. And we can hear that. There's the hard drive. So, oh, yes. And at the back, I don't know if you can see. Oh, did you just about catch that? Oh, there you go. The hard drive access light is on. So our rear panel is working as well. Fantastic. Alright, now I've not got this hooked up to any sort of video capture or TV or anything. I wonder if my capture box is upstairs. Right, okay, bear with me. I'm going to try and get my capture box from upstairs really, really quickly. And then we can plug in and we'll see what we get. Right, okay, ladies and gentlemen, so I've just run upstairs really quickly to get the my capture box. Hopefully I've set this up properly and it's plugged in the right places and I've put the right settings in to OBS to capture the right input. So let's see, shall we? Let's see if this thing will fire up. Green light is on. Yes! There it is. Oh, that's not good though. Oh, that's not good. Oh, there we go. Oh, God. I had kittens there for a minute. Right, I'll just see if I can adjust this about a little bit for you. It is 4/3 at the minute. I think I can probably swivel it around in the software setup, but just in case not. So the static at the back of the screen is because what it would normally do is overlay the TV input behind the XMB. So you can see there, look, like, if you know, obviously if you know the PSP or the PS3, you'll kind of recognise it. As you can see, it's quite you know, it's a really early version of it. Essentially, it is XMB, but the icons and things are obviously slightly earlier. So we'll go through the menus and things on another video, and there are English translations for the menu, so I would like to put those on. It's largely useless, but you know, it's just really nice to have it. So we'll have a look through the menus and things and go through the settings and everything else in a different video. It's just nice to know that it works. Now, I had kittens there for a minute initially because we got the blue screen and then we got static. Now, static I think is what you would normally see if the hard drive is bad and you won't get the XMB. So when I didn't get the XMB initially, because as I say, it's been 18 months at least since I last turned this machine on. So I couldn't remember that there was a bit of a delay between getting the static and the XMB up. So I was shitting myself there for a second. The hard drive had kicked the bucket. But luckily, no. Luckily, it's all in one piece, and as you can see there, the XMB is up and running, as is the rest of the machine. Yes, fantastic. Ah, I'm chuffed with that. Whew. So we've got power again. We have power back to the PSX, and that is one hell of a relief, I can tell you. Oh, I tell you, there's been some sleepless nights had over that, and to be honest, part of the reason it's been in that box as long as it has is because I couldn't face up to the fact that I've possibly killed it by doing something really stupid with it. But luckily, no. It's all back up and running, and everything is absolutely tickety-boo, apart from the obvious issues that it was actually sold with. So we're kind of back to square one in a way, which is good. Yeah, so I'm quite happy with that. So yeah, so next things then, what are we going to do? So essentially, I think at the moment, so we've got power back to it. With video output, we know the hard drive and everything else is working absolutely fine. So I think, as I was saying earlier on, and as we saw in the introduction video, the main issue with this thing is playing discs. Now, when I've tried it before, it doesn't actually seem to do an awful great deal. You put the disc in, there's a couple of clicks and clunks about, and then the thing just sits there and doesn't do anything. So there's nothing on the screen, there's nothing on the display to indicate that anything's working from what I remember. In fact, we can try that out in a sec. I'll see if I can find a DVD. But for now, I think the main thing going forwards to do with this now is obviously to get the thing reading discs again. But at the moment, I'm not entirely sure whether it's not reading discs because it can't read the disc because there's a physical fault with the laser, or whether it's not reading a disc because there is some sort of region lock, some sort of software protection kicking in there, just stopping it. You know, because all my discs are PAL region, they're region 2 DVD. Obviously, these machines are Japan only, so they're NTSC-J. So perhaps it's something to do with that. They are region 2, so DVD I would have imagined would work, but or DVD video, should I say? But I don't know a great deal about, you know, whether the region number, i.e. region 2, which is what we are here in the UK and the EU as well, actually has to coincide with the PAL and the NTSC-J. I don't know. So I've never really looked at DVD players, so I couldn't tell you whether the PAL and region 2 has to marry up on a PAL region 2 player, or whether you can have any region 2 player and any region 2 disc. So I'm not entirely sure. So I think just to remove that element of doubt, obviously if anybody knows, bang it in the comments, because it'd be useful to know. But other than that, I think the other thing to do is to defeat the region protection, and then we can take that variable completely out of the equation then. So I think it's going to be a case of getting some sort of physical hardware mod installed in the machine, and then like I said, that'll defeat the Japan region lock, and then obviously going forwards then, if we still can't get anything to read in it, we know that the region protection isn't kicking in, and we know the region protection isn't what's stopping the thing reading. It's actually a physical fault with the machine, which I'm half expecting anyway. So yeah, I think that's going to be the plan. The next major step is going to be to get that installed. I might have a look at Free McBoot. There is a PSX flavour of Free McBoot and stuff. Not because I'm going to use that. As I say, my intention is to hardware mod this thing. But you know, I think just to have a look at it, just to so that there's your options, because obviously the thing with this particular series is not only do I want to restore this machine and get it fully working again, but it'd be nice to sort of like look at the scene as a whole, because there really isn't that much on these machines at all out there. So I'd like to sort of go through as much and document as much and sort of throw some stuff together. Then obviously if anybody really wants one of these things, they know what they're getting into. So I think we'll do that. So we obviously need to sort of back up that hard drive as well. And then obviously we can take a look through the menus and the settings and maybe try and get those English translations working. The hard drive is a priority, obviously, because if that dies, I'm knackered. So, but the next sort of major step to getting this thing back up and fully working is going to be getting that hardware mod installed. Now, again, there's not specifically PSX chips and there's not specifically PSX installation instructions. You can use PS2 mods if you can find them. Obviously, there's not that many of them about these days, apart from the mod bows and things. But I may have a solution, and we'll see. So yes, so that's that, ladies and gentlemen. So anyway, we're going to try a DVD in here just to see what it does. So I'll go see if I can find one. I think there should be some floating around over the back of the sofa there, and see. You know, I'll put a disc in and you can see what it does. From my recollection in memory, it doesn't do an awful lot. So let's go do that now. Alright, okay, so I've just raided the wife's DVD stash. She did have the latest Call the Midwife DVD, but it's still in the cellophane. That she got for Christmas. So I've ended up nicking Norman Wisdom Volume 2, apparently. She's got some really bad taste. Anyway, let's just see what it does. Well, there you go. So the blue light is on the front. I can hear some. There's nothing at all on the screen. I can hear some whizzing noises, although not many. It's mainly clunk click, clunk click. Yeah, it doesn't sound very happy, does it? It's not. There's nothing on the screen anyway. Let's try that again. Yeah, there's the odd clunky clunk noise and then not a lot really. It's not even trying to spin it. So I think the laser probably isn't great. But, you know, that's what we thought. And as I say, somebody's already been in there. So it's hardly a surprise. But at least now you can see, and it confirms that indeed it's not reading anything. And that it's doing exactly what I suspected it was doing all that time ago. Because as we've seen already in this video, my memory does let me down occasionally. And it it did at the start of this video. But never mind. So, yeah, so I think, as I was saying earlier on, ladies and gentlemen, I think that the best thing to do now is to get that hard drive backed up. Maybe look at getting those English translations on the XMB and we can have a poke around and then obviously get the hardware mod installed. And then we can get on to actually sorting out the disc read issues. So, yeah, so thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. You've been fantastic as always. I am a very relieved Andy Paul, and that PSX over there is now back to where we started. No thanks to me. So, so thank you very much for watching. As always, for sticking by us this last couple of months. It's been very, very much appreciated for all the messages of support and everything that you've left on the comments on the videos. Has been very, very warmly received. As always, you know, I'm still working on through a couple of client machines. So if you've got machines with us, then obviously those are still being worked through, and I'll contact everybody who's still got something outstanding with me, just to sort of give you an update and let you know where we are. So yeah, so thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. As always, you're fantastic, and I will see you on the not too distant future on another video. I've got another couple of bits and pieces as well as this PSX ongoing, some newer stuff, obviously some current stuff and everything else. So whether I'll throw something like that in next, or whether we'll go for part 3, I don't know. Hopefully you're enjoying this little escapade as much as I am, and you know, so again, as always, any comments, any questions, feel free to pop them in the comments below. And if you can help on this project in any way, as I say, if you've got side panels, if you've got rubber feet, if you've got that weird screw that I'm missing, then obviously, you know, hit me up on the email, which is in the description, and yeah, it'd be nice to hear from you. So, as always, thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Andy Paul. You're fantastic as always, and I will see you on the next video in the not too distant future. So from me for now, it's bye-bye. Hope life treats you well. Stay safe, and I'll see you soon. Many thanks for watching then, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. If you have, then why not check out these recommendations below. Also, please remember to comment, rate, and of course subscribe to the channel if you found this useful. We've plenty more content on there, and there's lots more to come.